James here from Dadvice TV, your online kidney health coach. And this is another episode of Dadvice TV Live. Wow, it is October 2025 already. And tonight we are going to talk about a very inspiring story of one of my previous guests who was on just, maybe 2 months ago or 3 months ago. Jeff, you guys may remember him. He's kind of a rocket scientist, you'd say. And he talked about his kidney disease and what he did. And like me, he's very analytical. And he was graphing and charting things. And that helped him kind of be more proactive in managing his kidney disease. And he also used Renadyl, which is a probiotic. As a matter of fact, got my bottle right here. Renadyl, one of the probiotics. I love this stuff. Been using it since shortly after I was diagnosed with kidney failure. Wow, so long ago now. And this is one of the things that has helped me not go on dialysis. It also worked great for him. He's going to talk about the things that he did to not only help feel more in control and proactive in his care, but what did show positive results in his labs as he was graphing them. So we're going to go ahead and bring him back, and please give him a great big giant welcome. And he was just telling me, hey, James, last time I don't think we got to answer a lot of people's questions. So if you've got questions for Jeff, go ahead and type them down there in the comments. Hey, Wisconsin Grandma, great to see you back. Let me go ahead and bring on Jeff. Jeff, how you doing?
Doing well, James. Thank you.
Hey, great to have you back here on Dadvice TV. Now, can you tell us a little history for those that may not have watched or may not remember the last time you and I had a discussion on here? What happened to you and how did your kidneys kind of get in bad shape?
Yeah, I'd say I was an unusual case. Most of our listeners with kidney disease maybe had high blood pressure or they're diabetic. In my case, I was neither, but I was diagnosed with bladder cancer. This was back in 2017, and it was sufficiently advanced, so they had to remove the bladder. And as a result of removing the bladder, this sounds crazy, but your kidneys now drain external to your body through a hole in your stomach into a urostomy bag. Not to get too detailed, but the point is they now go through a section of your lower intestine. This is not the normal state for a kidney. A kidney normally drains through your ureters. So what that does, I've been told by the surgeon, is puts additional pressure on the kidneys. They have to work harder. So as a result of this, if you were to look at a ultrasound of my kidneys before and after, they would look a little swollen. So it's a condition of mild hydrophenosis, I think is the medical term. I'm not a doctor. So my kidneys have been in that state since the surgery, which was at the end of 2017, early 2018.
And is that swelling? Is that like inflammation, which is never good for the kidneys?
No, I wouldn't say it's inflammation. It's just enlarged. In other words, if you were to look before and after, it's like enlarged. In other words, it has to work harder to push all the urine out. Mm-hmm. So as a result, it accelerates the aging of the kidneys. And I don't know how far you want me to go, but being an analytically oriented person, of course, what did I do? Well, I went back to the whole history, and since 2017 until fairly recently, I've plotted up, okay, well, what's happening to the GFR? Is it dropping suddenly? Is it dropping slowly? And of course, the GFR itself is noisy. Without any change from one reading to the next, it can move 4 up to 5. My primary care said. Anyway, so I did what I do. So I used my MATLAB, which is a computing language, did a least squares fit. So what I did is started to predict, okay, at this rate of decay, and you could see a clear slope to the results, and it was a negative slope. Uh, when will I have to go on dialysis?
Mm-hmm.
And so even though the doctors, the urologist and the oncologist, both of them, said it's very good that you're doing this, but medical science is not rocket science. It's not it's not as predictable as you would like it to be. And I say, I understand that, but I'm just giving me a feel. Do I have 6 months from dialysis, or have I got 6 years? Very different actions. So that's how I came upon kidney disease,
Mm-hmm.
and I was in stage 3 for most of the time. I recall one of my lower numbers was about a 46,
Yeah.
and immediately before surgery, even at the end of chemotherapy, I was in the hundreds. So it
Mm-hmm.
definitely was the rearranging of my plumbing that put the pressure on the kidneys, and so I just say. You like to think that you're somehow in control of your medical future. You
Mm-hmm.
maybe watch your diet, you exercise, but just getting reading after reading and saying, okay, yeah, they're degrading. Well, I'll let you take over now, but it leads you to question what can I do about this, or do I just sit and wait?
Exactly. And the doctors, at least for a lot of us kidney patients, it kind of feels the doctors are thinking, well, hey, dialysis is in your future. It'll be covered by the government. We get some money because we have a dialysis center. Well, let's take it easy and get you in there. We'll make sure your transition to dialysis is nice and smooth. It doesn't
Yeah,
feel like they're wanting to help. Hey, what can we do? Can we put the brakes on it? Can we do a U-turn?
exactly. So what you just said is very similar to. I did get a nephrologist to a kidney specialist, and your comments are very close to what he said. He kind of said, well, there's a lot of supplements out there and this and that. He said, but if any of them were any good, the pharmaceutical companies would have packaged them up and be selling them. So that wasn't encouraging to me.
Yep.
So first thing I did is, here we go. I don't know if you can see this. I bought me this book, kidney
Kidney
disease
disease
for
for
seniors in stage 3.
I've not even seen that book.
Found it on Amazon. Um, it was very helpful. It has specific diets to follow. The basic premise is watch your protein consumption, watch your phosphorus, and watch your potassium. And it gives the readings for all typical foods. And so I did start to restrict my diet. And what happened? Well, first of all, it made me feel better. Okay, maybe I'm doing
Yep.
something to postpone the dialysis. If
Yep.
it's 3 months, if it's 6 months, if it's a year, the statistics again that I generated and the slope of the decay in the GFR kind of said, well, maybe it's helping a little bit. The only thing, by the way, the only thing the nephrologist said is no red meat.
Yep.
So I like to have an occasional hamburger, maybe once a month. I even cut that out. So, so I was pretty strict, stayed on the diet, and the basic premise is many small meals, not the big meal with 40, 50 grams of protein, many small meals with on the order of 10 to maybe 15 grams of protein.
Yep.
Stayed on that. And then I went back to the nephrologist and I said, hey, um, you give me the name of a dietitian that knows a lot about kidney disease. And it took him a while, but eventually he did. And I don't know if you want me to jump ahead to that now, but oh, go ahead. Okay. So she went through my diet. I made a list of grams of this, of grams of that by day, by week. And she was very impressed. She basically said, wow, you read that book carefully and you're doing almost everything perfectly. She made a couple of minor suggestions and followed those. And then at our second meeting, do we want to jump right into her recommendation,
Yeah,
James?
go ahead. Yeah, I know
Okay.
everyone's going to be excited to hear
Okay.
that.
I don't want to babble incoherently.
Oh no, you're
At
you're
the,
you're doing great. You're doing great. I'll
okay.
jump in occasionally.
Okay. At the second meeting, she said, "Well, oh, by the way, at the first meeting, she suggested more plant protein versus animal protein is a good
Mm-hmm.
thing. Generally, puts a little less strain on the kidneys." And she said, "Do you know how when you pee, it has a funny smell when you eat asparagus?" I said, "Yes, I do." She says that's taking a toxin and it's good for your kidneys. So I started eating asparagus like I like like
I love
crazy.
asparagus. I buy it. It's
So,
frozen in the store, which is very affordable,
yeah,
and it's in a bag, and I can microwave it. And it steams in the bag, and then I put some lemon in there, and I'm in
yeah.
heaven eating that.
So all this it helped, but probably mostly it helped my mental state that I was doing something and somehow I was controlling that negative slope. So then she said, "Well," she says, "you want to try something?" I said, "I'll try anything if it's not dangerous." So she mentioned Renadyl. She said it was a supplement at least one of her patients were taking, and it had a dramatic effect on the GFR, raising the GFR, which is unheard of. Okay, I'm looking at a negative slope for the last 7 years. So I say, raise the GFR. Um, so I went online, I read all the pros, all the cons. There really weren't any cons. There was someone who complained that it only helped him increase his GFR by just one. That was the worst comment I found online. I said, well, okay. Some people, little, I can't hear you, James. Are
Oh, sorry. I
you
actually had
muted?
my mute on.
Okay.
I was going to say, even holding steady is a positive, and a lot of people
Yeah,
don't realize that because you've been looking at 7 years of a downward slope. Even if you could just hold it, would be a
exactly.
win in my book.
Yep. Anything you could do to increase the time to go before dialysis.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yep.
so So I said, "What the heck?" It wasn't really that expensive. Even got I think I got a discounted rate the first 3 month is it sample. The only downside was it said it could produce a little bit of stomach sensitivity. If it did, it was for the gone in a week
Yep.
or even in a few days. The other downside, it has to be refrigerated. So
Yeah.
normally I prepare all my supplements and everything and put them in a thing for the week. So I have to have a special reminder on the refrigerator. Don't forget the Renadyl. So I started it, and in less than a month, my GFR started to march upwards. So if I could draw you a picture, all up to that point, it's like going like this. I'll
So
show you the picture.
it's been going down. You said 6 or 7 years of a steady
Yeah, and all of a
decline.
sudden, can you see
Yep.
that? All of a
Yep.
sudden, the slope reverses. And the first um, blood check I had was the urologist, and he made a comment like, "Wow, your kidneys haven't degraded much since the surgery because they within 3 months they marched up into the 60s, which is borderline if you even have kidney disease. That's usually the threshold of stage 2, which is don't worry about anything, and stage 3 is
Yep.
60. And so I abandoned the plotting, and I said, well, I'm plotting two different situations, two different families. So since that time, taking Renadyl religiously, one in the morning, one in the evening, I have not had a reading below 60. Right now, it's floating 62, 64, 65, 69. I had one at 86. I don't know what happened on that test. It was a non-fasting blood test.
Yep.
But if I were to plot those and use my old program, a MATLAB program, it would say the slope is 0. So I'm at 60 until something very bad happens. I don't know what could happen. So what has it done? I don't worry about my kidneys from day to day now. And my dietitian, when she saw, she says, "Wow." She said, "You've done well by Renadyl." She said, "If you believe you're consistently above 60," and she said, "Look at all your readings, not just the ones you like." I said, "They're
Mm-hmm.
all above 60." She said, "You can actually start to relax your diet a little bit now, because if you're above 60, you start to take in a little more protein." She said, "Don't go crazy. Don't go out and have a Big Mac. But you can start to relax your diet now, because she said, I won't say you're cured of kidney disease, but the signature in your blood is that of a person that doesn't have kidney disease anymore."
Yep.
So I
You're in a
have,
much your kidneys, I like to think of your kidneys were stressed a lot, dealing with the changes from the surgery. And you adjusted your diet, which helps relieve some of the stress. You're not bombarding them with tons of sodium, red meat, which also raises your pH, which puts more stress on them. All that protein, maybe a challenge for some people. But now I look at it as you've kind of relieved some of the burden off your kidneys, which lets them better keep up with you. And that's how I explain it to people. I kind of see Renadyl, the probiotic, and there's two different kinds of Renadyl now. There's the probiotic, which is what we're talking about. I kind of see it like Pac-Man. You remember the old Pac-Man game? Remember that?
yep,
It was hot, and it's in your gut, eating up some of the bad stuff, and then going out with a bowel movement, and not getting absorbed in your blood, not putting that extra stress on the kidneys. And if anyone asks, the other Renadyl, they just released about a month and a half ago a multivitamin for kidney patients, and it's a gummy. And someone here was just saying they take it. Debbie says she really likes the new Renadyl gummies. I think I'm a month and a half of using those. But yeah, that's the way I look at it. It's removing some of the stress placed on your kidneys, which then gives you some more room in your diet to enjoy some things that you may have really limited before.
so I'm a happy user.
Yep.
What else can I say? It's kind of improved my outlook. Something. I mean, I'm 78 years old, so when you get into your late 70s, early 80s, I don't know if we have any listeners that are there, you start to wonder, okay, what's going to break next? Because you're not going to live forever. So it's just like to know, well, what, something else may go wrong, but I'm not worried about my kidneys anymore. I mean, I watch them. I have a blood test with a nephrologist maybe once every 4 months with my primary care whenever he wants to look at something. I'm also seeing another doctor. They all want to do their own blood tests, so I get a measure of where the GFR is, and it's never below 60. It's like, well, nothing to worry about there.
Yeah.
So, that's peace of mind.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the comments you made, I want to kind of emphasize it. As kidney patients, when we are diagnosed with kidney disease, we usually see online and from our doctors so many don'ts, like don't do this, cut back on this, and it feels like so much is taken away from us. And you
Yeah.
mentioned earlier how you did your research on Renadyl, recommended by your dietitian, and it made you, it kind of empowered you. You're taking
Yeah.
control, and it's not a don't. It's a, well, I'm going to try it. I'm going to, they recommend take it for 3 months, then get new labs and see how you're doing. And I would measure, in my opinion, if you're stable, that's a positive. So
Yeah.
if you can change that declining curve, that's a win in my book. Um, and from what you saw, not only did you you didn't just slow down the curve, you reversed it.
I made a new curve.
Yeah,
It's like, I won't say I'm a different person, but the signature of my kidneys in my blood is that of a different person. It's I love it.
yeah, and I'm guessing
Uh,
the stress and the worry that you may have had before, because a lot of times, even myself, I come on here, I'm very positive, but there's times when I sit down and I let my mind wander, and I think, okay, 15 years from now, what's my kidney situation going to be like? And it can get kind of challenging thinking of that, because you don't know where it's going to be. It
yeah.
could be the
Yep.
same, could be slightly worse, could be a lot worse. But seeing that change, it probably helps remove a lot of that stress that you may get thinking about the future. Takes it off your shoulders, and it's much more positive.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Now, what else did you do? So you did your diet. You made some modifications there. You read the book. A lot of
I
small
did.
meals. I like that, because you're not.
Yeah.
That's, to me, that's fits in line with that. Taking it easy, not overburdening your kidneys. I can only imagine what going to a buffet would do to somebody's kidneys. All that stuff coming in, your body's processing it, you're overloading all that sodium at once going in there. To me, that sounds like not a good thing to do. So I like the small meal idea, eating often throughout the day. But what else did you do?
Lots of, as I said, lots of small meals, maybe 6 or 7 a day. Switched to a lot more vegetarian. Um, I might have meat in the form of tuna or chicken once or twice a week. The other meals are basically beans, garbanzo beans, black beans, sometimes mixed with rice, sometimes in a salad. Um, I do have eggs. That's the maybe the closest thing to animal protein, but I limited it to no more than two. That's right about at the 10-gram limit. Um, that's pretty much it. Consider more vegetarian, eat more asparagus, as I mentioned, had a positive effect. And of course, the hardest part is if you go out to dinner and you ask you're about to get some salmon. I usually order salmon. Well, how many grams of protein is in this salmon? And you say, well, what can I get that's only 10 grams of protein? Believe me, there's very little that has as little as 10 grams of protein.
Yeah.
Many are in the 40s to 50s, which is like punching your kidney, the way I view it. Yeah, so what you do is you just ask for smaller portions, and maybe you just eat half what's on your plate
Yep.
for dinner. If it's 40 grams of protein, cut it in half and bring the other half home. So, yeah, it does affect when I go out to eat. I try to keep the restrictions in mind. Um, Obviously, no fast food, just loaded in salt,
Yeah.
uh, try to go back to the whole foods. I guess most of the beans that I buy are canned, so of course there's some sodium there. I wash out the sodium. I tend not to have a problem with sodium. My problem with sodium is it tends to go too low.
Mm.
So maybe I'm lucky there. Potassium right in the middle. Phosphorus. It's hard to get a phosphorus reading on foods, by the way.
Oh
Something
yeah,
that's
it's not on the label.
yeah, phosphorus rich is milk is fairly phosphorus rich. So I actually stopped milk and I started to put almond milk in my morning coffee, which I hated, but I said it's good for my kidneys. So now, since my Renadyl recovery, shall we say, some of those measures I don't do anymore. I put regular milk in my morning coffee. Um,
Yeah. Now let me tell you the trick
so,
my dietitian gave me to help with phosphorus, because it's difficult and you may not always be able to look everything up. But what she told me, and I've done this since the beginning, was look at the ingredients. You're looking for PHOS, phos, because there's so many different types of it. It's allowed to be once in the first half of the ingredients. If it's more than once in the first half or 3 total anywhere, no, skip it. So even if it's in
okay.
the last ingredient, there's 3 different types of phosphorus additives in there, that's a no. That was the shortcut she gave me, because
Okay.
I was like, when I go shopping, and I came from a world where I traveled all the time, so every single meal was eating out.
Yeah.
I
That's very tough.
rarely cooked at home, pretty much reheated meals. So it was difficult. Or if I was traveling, I may run down to their grocery store, buy something that I can nuke or something like that. And those things are just loaded with those
Yeah.
phosphorus. So I want to know, when I go to the store and I look at ingredients, because I have no clue what I'm looking at, how do I know? Because phosphorus isn't on there. And that was the trick she gave me. And when I started looking, I pretty much gotten to the point where I can look at something from a distance, go, okay, when's it expire? Oh, it's next year or the year after. There's way too much phosphorus in it. I can tell you that right now.
That's a good trick. I'll keep that one in mind because, as you said, it's hard to find.
Hmm.
Um,
And real
so
quick, can you hold that book up again? Several people have asked, what is the
sure.
name of that book, so they can go
I
on
found I
Amazon.
found it. I found it on Amazon.
Here, hold it
Uh,
right in front of your face,
you
and then
see it?
back closer to you. Okay, we got the kidney disease. Let me bring you up here full screen so we can get a bit more of it. Okay, kidney disease diet for, I think it says seniors
Seniors on
on
stage
stage
3.
3. So there we go.
You want more info? I can give you the. It's by Julia Meadows, a 5-star nutritional expert. And as I said, it has recommended meal plans and it goes over a lot of popular foods, what the contents are. And I think it gives you, there's some freebies associated. Just purchased it online through Amazon. This is for my versions from February 2024.
Wow, that's
Um,
really recent.
yeah, so it's good. It's got different. It's got menus, chicken salad with pineapple, and blah blah blah, and it tells you the content, nutritional information, protein, phosphorus, potassium, sodium, etc. So,
Yep.
as I said, it was helpful and gave me at least a more positive outlook that I was doing something, not just looking at this curve, this slope going down, down, down.
Yeah.
And and then, as I said, the nutritionist with her recommendation was great. And I think there was another one I looked at that wasn't as useful. Uh,
Oh, I
can you
have
see
that
this
book.
one? You have that one?
That was one of the first
Um,
ones I bought. Yeah, avoid dialysis. I bought every avoid dialysis book Because
Okay.
my first GFR was 8 when I learned that I had kidney problems. When I learned what the
Wow.
kidneys do, all
Wow.
I could tell you was I think they make urine. That was it back then. So I bought every single book that would do anything to help delay me going on dialysis. Now Debbie just asked, "Do you eat yogurt?"
Yeah, I do eat yogurt. Pure. I was a daily yogurt eater, just not as frequently now. Just
Mm-hmm.
doesn't seem to appeal to me. But I have these also have these yogurt pops. Yasso makes them. They're fairly low in sugar. It's a Greek yogurt pop. I have that
Very
every day.
good. Yeah,
So
sugar can be a challenge with yogurt. And it sounds like from your diet, you're eating a good amount of fiber, which helps with Renadyl because, fiber is a prebiotic. That's the food that
yeah.
probiotics use to keep multiplying and, keep the colony size large enough to make an impact in your gut. Now, do you want to
Any other questions out there or?
So let's get on to, you mentioned that you had um, a medical change recently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We can talk about that because it's another, if you will, testimonial to the strength of Renadyl and everything else I'm doing. Unfortunately for me, my cancer came back. This was last April. It had evidently it completely baffled the urologist and the oncologist. I went back to the two same doctors that took care of me before because they know my history, and they were a bit surprised. And the best explanation is at the time they cut the urethra in my body, there must have been some residual cancer cells left in there that, according to the oncologist, went dormant. Because it's unheard of after 7 years of cancer coming back. Usually, after 5 years, you're blessed and say, "Oh, you're one of the lucky ones."
Mm-hmm.
So I've been undergoing some treatment using this immunotherapy, the drug Keytruda, and it's produced some undesirable side effects. um, I don't know if we want to discuss them, James, or anyway, but well, one of them is constipation,
Yep.
and the standard treatments are, consider stool softeners, consider maybe enemas, worst case. So I purchased both of them at a local drugstore. And you look at the warnings on them. Okay, do not use if you have kidney disease. It clearly says without talking to your doctor. So I went back to the oncologist who had recommended them, and she said, you're pretty strong. You're in the 60s. We've never seen a reading below 62." She said, "I think you're pretty safe." So when I asked her that, I actually had done it for more than a week because it was becoming very uncomfortable, shall we say.
Yep.
Um, and so now I pretty much regularly use it as I need it, violating what it says on the warning labels. And throughout this, my kidney's been rock solid. There's been not a dip in the GFR. So
That
once
is
again,
awesome.
I hold my Renadyl bottle up and say, "Thank you. You're getting me through this, and I don't have to worry about that side effect. There are other side effects that I'm still managing." So yeah, unfortunate that it came back. But while I'm undergoing the treatment, it's nice to know I don't have to worry so much about my kidneys or what some of the other things I'm taking can do to my kidneys.
Yep.
So yeah, that to me was I was very worried that I was hurting my kidneys by doing those things, but I didn't.
Yep. Now, you mentioned constipation, which is a common issue a lot of kidney patients face. Um, some medication, makes you prone to that. With your Renadyl, are you taking 2 tablets, like in the morning? Or are you taking one in the morning, one in the afternoon, which a lot of
I,
people do?
I do one in the morning and one in the evening. There have been times where I've taken two in the evening if I thought I forgot to get
Mm-hmm.
the tablet out of the refrigerator. Um, but yeah, I guess it could have a benefit if I took two in the morning, which I will
Yeah.
probably do tomorrow morning. So I give it a try because that could help.
Yeah, because
Um,
I found that if I start getting backed up, I do one in the morning, one in the evening. I'll just do, as long as I'm not going into work, I'll do two in the morning, and it seems to me to help get things moving. And I don't want anyone out there to be worried. I I just don't like to use public restrooms. That's why I don't like to do it if I'm going into work.
sure.
I'm a bit of a germaphobe when it comes to that. So I'm like, okay, I want to take care of business at home. Um,
Yeah.
but I find that, and I've heard that from many other people, that taking two of them at once, if you're constipated, it can help. It's not the same as a stool softener that can help, get things moving, but it does a little bit to help. So that may be something to consider.
It's I made a note of it right here. So yeah, so I'm managing that, and while I'm managing the treatments, I'm not worried about my kidneys. So
That is
it's a good step
awesome
to
not to
be
have to
in.
worry about them, because you've got enough to focus on.
Yeah. So any other questions we can?
Let's see if anyone out there has a question. There were a few questions people had about getting Renadyl.
Sure.
So for those that are interested in purchasing it, you can buy it from Renadyl.com. I put their URL down here at the bottom. There is a discount code. This is not a an affiliate link. So some companies have affiliate links where you recommend something and the person recommending it gets a kickback. This actually gives you a discount, um, and it helps show that, hey, Renadyl, it came from Dadvice TV. So you can use that discount there, Dadvice 2410. You can also buy it from Amazon. And like Jeff mentioned, when you get it, it'll be shipped in a special container to help keep it cool. It lasts about a week if you don't keep it cool. So you don't store it on the counter. When you get it, pop it in the refrigerator so that it's a probiotic. It's alive in there. For those that didn't know that, good probiotics are living little tiny organisms in there that go into your gut and they reproduce, and it helps. But you keep it in your refrigerator. It comes in a tiny little bottle. It's a small. This is one of my empty bottles. My refrigerator, you guys can't see it. It's behind me. It's a green screen behind me. That's not my real background. I have a giant messy refrigerator with all sorts of things stuck to the front of it. But you store it in the refrigerator. When I travel, I put it in a little tiny lunch bag with one of those ice packs just to keep it cool to where I go.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good suggestion. I was wondering about travel.
oh, yeah.
Um, yeah, how do you keep it cool?
Yeah, I am on the road quite often, not as much anymore for work, but I like to travel on the weekends. My daughter and I will run up to Canada. We're getting ready to make a trip to Toronto soon. She wants to go up in that big tower, the CN Tower,
Wow.
and which I'm scared to death of heights, but she wants to do the thing where you hang off the edge of it. They pretty much strap you in and you hang over the edge. I'm like, wow. Um, Alicia asked, "Is Renadyl a supplement? Is it over the counter?" Yes, it does not require a prescription. It is a supplement. Um, so it's not considered a medication. It's not meant to treat or cure anything. It is a probiotic made by a company called Kibo Biotech. They're over in Pennsylvania. Super nice people. As a matter of fact, they came out here a few months ago, and I had dinner with them, and we got to chit chat and stuff. Um, I, like Jeff, discovered it through my renal dietitian, And then, I'm a nerd. I did tons of research, and I'm looking and I'm like, hey, all these reviews are good. I even saw some people saying, oh, my GFR stopped dropping, but it hasn't gone up. And I'm thinking like, well, that's good. That's
That's
good.
very good. Yeah, that's a dream case.
And now some people, when you purchase it, you buy 3 months worth at a time, taking 2 tablets a day. And it ends up costing like a $1.05 or something for a tablet. It is affordable when you look at what you're getting from it. And if anything, it helps delay, at least for me, everything I do that helps delay the potential of being on dialysis is worth it. The books that I purchased, the time I invest reading them, taking this, eating healthier, making a sacrifice of not eating a Big Mac, for example. I used to love ribeyes. In my early videos, I talked about how much I missed not having a nice giant ribeye for dinner. I used to do that like several times a week.
Now, how about pizza? You eat
Oh,
pizza?
when I was in the ICU, I thought, oh my goodness, my life has changed. I will never, ever eat pizza again. But now it's like, yeah, I can have it, but I got to be real careful because that's sodium. That's what gets me. Too much
Yeah.
sodium and it'll keep me up all night. But with Renadyl, like you, I feel safer with my diet. I understand
Yeah.
my diet
Yes.
better, and I kind of feel, hey, I've got this extra safeguard in the background, so I can have some pizza when I go out. And I'm trying to cook more and more here. My difficulty is snacking. Oh my goodness, I snack all day long on carbs, which are not the right thing. And my work, we have snack closets, which are like Willy Wonka, because
Yeah.
the campus is big. A lot of people, it's difficult if everyone goes out for lunch. There's so much traffic leaving. So you stay in the building. So there's snack closets all over the place, and they're just full of everything. And, the carbs quickly add up. That's one of my challenges.
Yeah,
Um,
I tend to drift to carbs for snacks as well, but I try to at least make them whole grain, you know, maybe a little better for you.
I try to limit to like one snack pack of Nutter Butters. Well, they just added those at work, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I love Nutter Butters. Haven't had them in forever. I can skip the Snickers and all that. I also eat a lot of unsalted nuts, which
Okay.
there's quite a bit of carbs there, and it adds up for me. Let me see what other questions we may have here. Um, and let me talk a little bit more about what Renadyl helps with. So, if you have uric acid, if you go to their website, you can learn a lot about it. Helps with uric acid. It helps with your blood urea nitrogen number, your BUN number. I used to be a little too sensitive with my BUN. I really was like focused on how do I get it lower. Yeah, and I learned that the more plant-based I eat, the better my BUN gets. And my doctors have all said, James, you're too focused on your BUN. There's other things that are more important. And I had a problem with sodium in the beginning since I ate so many meals out, even at restaurants. Salt was a flavor. And it felt like the food was just a delivery method for the sodium. Let's see. Someone says, what's the price? I am not sure what the price is. It is about, I think it's about $45 a month or something with Renadyl if you're doing 2 tablets a day. I think that's where it is, or 50, something like that. For
That's
it.
about what I think I pay, and you
Yeah.
can set up. I set up an online account, and I think you get if you do that, so it automatically sends to you. They put a little extra discount on that to encourage you to do it that way.
Hmm.
Um, that's
And then
in
you
the
never
ballpark.
miss it.
I didn't even mention that my primary care was a big believer in this drug Farxiga.
Yeah.
Farxiga, without a discount, would run about $700 a month. I tried it for a month, and the side effects were very bad for me. So immediately stopped that. That was the same time I ordered Renadyl, and my primary care said, I don't know what that is, but he said, I'm sure the Farxiga will get you right on track. Well, it didn't get me on track at all. My GFR dropped when I started taking Farxiga. And so I've got a bottle of Farxiga in there that I spent $700 on that I won't use. And then I started the Renadyl and saw dramatic improvements. Even in the first month, I started
Yeah.
to see my GFR go up. So maybe I'm just born to use Renadyl. I don't know, but from the statistics I saw online, it's not that unusual that it helped me.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of people once they'll take it for 6 or 9 months, and then they may switch to, if they need to, one tablet a day instead of the standard dose of 2 tablets. But if you take an antibiotic or you get sick, that can reduce the good
it
bacteria in
does.
your gut, and it's
It
good to then
does.
go back to that 2 a day to get that boosted back up.
I actually asked my dietitian, well, I had to go on an antibiotic for a sinus infection. So I said to her, well, isn't that going to flush out all the beneficial bacteria that Renadyl has put in my system? She said, I'm afraid yes.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, when I'm done with the antibiotic, can I get them to come back faster by taking twice the dosage? And she said, I'd be careful with that. Instead of taking 2 tablets a day, take 4 tablets a day to accelerate it. She wasn't sure about that, but cautioned against it. She said, let it come back on its normal pace.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is a side effect of the antibiotics. It
So
will
what
kind
you
of
just mentioned,
reset your Renadyl.
I went through a similar thing, and I'm not recommending this to people. I did the 4 tablets a day for a while, and it does make you a bit gaseous. It takes care
Okay.
of keeping you from not being constipated,
Okay. Okay.
and maybe a bit gaseous. And I'm like, okay, I do a lot of presenting at work, where I'm up in front of people and talking, and I'm moving. I like to walk back and forth when I'm up in front of a group of people. It's like, I don't need this problem right here. So it went
That
back
would
to
be a
the two.
problem.
Yeah.
That would be a problem. So yeah, so Farxiga was not right for me and much more expensive.
Hmm.
Um, don't know what else I can say. It's part of my daily routine.
Yep.
Um,
That is fantastic. Though, you are so inspirational, and especially since you tracked it for so long, and you're on that decline. I hope that I'm never having that decline. I'm the kind of person, I have, whenever time I get my labs, I copy them all into an Excel sheet. I have a different tab for each one, like GFR, my uric acid, my LDL cholesterol, and all that, so I can look at it. I use a food tracking app so I can see, I can show my doctor what I've eaten, and it kind of helps if something gets a little out of whack. They can look at it, and they may say, like, hey, some medication. This medication we started with you, James, that probably did that. Or right now, I'm having a bit of a problem with too much phosphorus ever since I went on Jardiance. Similar to what you just said
okay.
with Farxiga.
Similar, yeah.
My
Yeah.
doctor gave me Jardiance. I took it for less than a month, got labs. My doctor called me Saturday morning and woke me up and said, stop taking it. And I didn't even know what my labs were yet. And I logged in and saw them, like, oh, it dropped me down to 22.
Okay.
So it took a while. I stopped taking that. I uh, continued on my Renadyl, continued eating, the right foods. My last labs were Monday of this week. I'm at 33, which is great for me. 33, 35 is high for me. That's where I like
Okay.
to sit. That's where I've been. That's where I'm stable now. But yeah, I got one of those new SGLT2 drugs, and it, like with you, was not a positive impact on my kidneys, and I stopped it. And it cost a fortune too.
It does.
And
Yeah.
here's the bottle. All the extra pills that I paid for.
I keep all my prescription stuff in a safe right beneath me. So yeah.
This is the
Um,
only one I keep right here because it's like I want to always be able to look at the name and remember which one never to take again.
it's strange that more doctors haven't picked up on this.
Mm-hmm.
Of all the doctors and nephrologists I'm aware of, the only one who mentioned Renadyl, my sister-in-law, goes to the Mayo Clinic, and the nephrologist there was familiar with Renadyl.
Yep.
So that is the only one. As I said, my nephrologist is very anti-supplement. That
Mm-hmm.
if it was any good, the pharmaceutical companies would have already packaged it and be selling it. So thank goodness that hasn't happened because the
Yeah.
cost would go way up.
Exactly. And I think nephrologists, they're taught how to treat certain symptoms, and they really don't spend enough time learning about the things a renal dietitian learns about
Right.
diet, and they're just now, in my opinion, starting to focus on the gut and realize, hey, gut health is something important. Luckily, my nephrologist believes in gut health because he's got experience with it, and he is 100% on board. He's like, hey, this is good, and he even recommends. He's like, how much fiber are you eating? Maybe you need a little bit more because that helps the good bacteria multiply and survive in your gut. So I'm
Hmm.
very thrilled with that. All right, well, we are about out of time. It's been almost a full hour. Time is just flying here. And I think we've mentioned, I think we've addressed all the questions that people ask. Wisconsin Grandma, hey, great seeing you again, Wisconsin Grandma. She's a regular here. She says she mentioned Renadyl, and her doctor never heard of it either. Yeah, too
Yeah.
many of them aren't aware of it. And I think it's just because they focus on treating symptoms and problems
Treat
and not
treat
being more
this treat the sickness,
preventive.
not try. Yeah, prevention is something they often aren't taught in medical school.
Yeah, Wisconsin Grandma says, I wonder if there's any supplements that interact with Renadyl. So since it's a probiotic, antibiotics will definitely, attack the colony or reduce the colony that's in your gut. Um, so antibiotics is definitely something to worry about. I don't know if
You know,
there's anything else.
I actually asked the nutritionist that
Mm-hmm.
because before I even started with the Renadyl, I take a general blanket probiotic just because for the benefits to my stomach. So I was asking her, I showed her the ingredients and all that, and I kind of stumped her. I said, well, should I stop taking this while I'm taking the Renadyl? Is there a lot of overlap? She couldn't really answer that. She said, ask your primary care that one.
Yeah.
See if there's maybe an indus, because I said I don't mind if there's an overlap as long as it's not harmful. So I continue to take a normal probiotic with the Renadyl, but and I haven't addressed that with my primary care yet, but I will. Coming up soon is my annual physical. So yeah, I take a load of supplements, fish oil, things beneficial to the kidney, CoQ10,
Yep.
garlic. My blood is so thin it and that makes it easier for the kidneys to work with it, I believe. And so I take a whole bunch of supplements. Um, I take a supplement too because one of the things that Keytruda did, remember, it's an immunotherapy. It can go after normal functioning cells. It went after my adrenal gland. It zapped my adrenal gland. So I have to take a hydrocortisone tablets first thing in the morning, and then in the afternoon. The adrenal gland regulates potassium and sodium in your blood. All of a sudden, they both started to drop in my blood tests before the infusion. And the doctor said, "What the heck is going on?" Sure enough, he looked at the adrenal gland function, the level of cortisol in my blood, and it was almost zero. So unfortunately, these supplements, and again, the Renadyl has pushed me through all that without any degradations in kidney function.
Yeah.
So
Well, that
taking care of
is,
yourself isn't easy. It's not easy.
it is not, but it
So
looks like you're
having,
doing a great job with all the challenges that come
yeah.
after you. And you've
So
got a positive attitude. I love it.
yeah. Stay positive. All right. Well, I thank anyone who signed in. I don't see who signs in, so thank you for paying attention to this old guy.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you everyone for being here. Please give this video a thumbs up. Let's spread the word. Let other people know about, it's not all doom and gloom when you get kidney disease. And Renadyl is a probiotic that I have used it was about a year after I was diagnosed. I started using it. I've used it since. As a matter of fact, my car is wrapped. This is Dadvice TV. I've always had a wrapped vehicle, and I have Renadyl on the windows, powered by Renadyl. It's helping spread the word to other people. I run into other kidney patients that either have seen Dadvice TV or they haven't seen it yet, and I talk about it all the time, and I am happy to talk about it, and I'm happy to hear stories like yours, Jeff. All right, everybody.
All right.
Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.